Hey, everybody. Okay, good. I can hear me. Welcome to Tavern Talk. I'm Chris. I'm the Dungeon Master for Tavern Knights. Also, one of the um, members of the Nerds with Alcohol show. And with me right now is Pete, aka Euchariah from
Yep.
Tavern Knights. And Russ will be joining us in a little bit. I don't think anybody else is actually gonna be joining, but um,
Yeah,
that
sorry I
should be
missed
plenty.
it. Yeah, I missed the last one. So
Yeah.
sorry about that. But had some personal things going on. I try to make it. That was the first one that I've missed since we've done Tavern Talk.
Yep.
So and especially the last couple episodes have been a little bit more story focused on my character. So it was a. I'm glad that I can make it to this one. There's no way to work around the previous one. I had something going on with my kids' homeschooling
Ah,
that was out in like the
parent teacher conference.
sort of. We're actually signing them up for like something that expands upon homeschooling, kind of like in a little bit of that classroom experience, but still get the homeschool feel to it. And we're getting some. It was like a meet and greet and like understanding the new program that we're trying to sign up for.
Okay,
But
cool.
it was like an hour away, so by the time we got back, it was like 9:30. By the time we got back, I was able to
Let's say,
listen to the
well,
last little bit of your show.
you could have been like Rich and just jumped in for the very end,
Oh
like.
gosh, at the last episode, yeah, Rich joined 30 seconds after we called it a night, right? So
Yep. So that was fun. Um, but yeah. So last week, for those that aren't watching, Tavern Nights is our live play D&D game that we stream every other Friday night here on Twitch. It's been going on for almost 2 years now.
we're
The
approaching
Twitch
two
stream
years.
hasn't. The Twitch stream's been going for about a
A
year.
year.
The D&D game itself has been going for about almost 2 years. I think in September or October
October.
it'll actually be 2 years. But great game. You guys are seventh level currently,
Hmm.
and you've done a whole bunch of stuff. You've primarily been in the. We're playing in the world of Greyhawk, and you've been primarily in the Ulick region, which is, if anyone knows where Greyhawk's here. Ulick is down over in this area. Uh, Unfortunately, I'm on call this week, so I can't silence my phone, so it may make some noise. I will move it over here to where hopefully.
Understandable.
Um, so they may also cut the stream short if need be. If
Oh,
which that was another issue. But anyway, I'll get to that in a little bit. But the so we you guys have been uh in the Ulick region mostly, but now you've actually wandered up to Greyhawk itself. You're in the city of Greyhawk. You've been there for a couple of sessions. Actually, it's only been a little over 24 hours for your characters.
right. That's right. But
Because you
we've done
guys
a
did
lot in
so
those
much your
24 hours.
first day.
Yes.
So you're in the city. You've visited some magic shops. You met up with your adoptive mother slash teacher, Maudlin,
Yep.
who has been herself looking into the disappearances of some children in the shack town outside of the gates, outside the highway gate of Greyhawk. It's a bunch of refugees from the war. Even 15 years after the war ended, they're still there because they have nowhere.
Yes. And this is the first time that Euchariah has actually seen Model N for the first time in about 3.5 years or so,
Yep.
since there was an attack on their home that separated them, and both of them believed the other one to be dead. Um, and for a very long time, that's just the general belief that we had until it was like I think around fifth level that I get those third level spell slots, and I took for as part of the character, I purposely took the sending spell, so that way I can actually try and engage to see if she was alive or not. and it came as quite a surprise that first time that I sent it. Like it was right before we went live on the stream, I think, because I think we hit 5th level right after we got out of the Wave Echo, and we went live like a session or two later on, I think. And I did send a message
Yeah, I
finding
don't
out that she
think we
is
did
alive.
anything in Windows.
No, I think that it was after the fact that when we finally went live, when we got back to Phandalin.
Yeah.
It was our very first live show after we finished the Wave Echo story arc. And then what led into, I think, your storyline regarding the Phylactery and the different components that of the staff and the gem effect that where we actually went live, I believe. But for the first year, my character had no idea whether or not his surrogate mother that raised him, since he was found in his mind in 3.5 years, thinking that she was dead, and then finding all of a sudden that she's alive. But she was extremely cryptic for a very long time. Anytime that Yukurai would reach out and send her a message, you were very cryptic. I think just saying like maybe like just pushing it along, saying like things are that she's alive, but it's just not the right time because it wasn't part of the main storyline yet.
Well, there were other reasons for that too.
Oh, okay.
But
that I probably just don't know, but
yeah. But yeah, so you did that. You found out she was alive, and I looked, and yeah, it was just before Stone Tooth, before you guys set off for Stone Tooth. Is
okay.
The and so eventually, you had a dream where you saw Maudlin in your dream, and she seemed to recognize you as well in the dream. You were actually seeing things through her eyes.
And she was essentially reaching out and speaking directly to me, kind of having a sense that I was there.
Yeah, and at the time, it looked like she had the hand of a small child, and she was running through like some muddy streets, and then
at the very end, she said, "Come to Greyhawk."
Yeah.
So that's what now we were talking about going to Greyhawk for quite a while, actually.
Yeah.
Because we just had so much to sell, but it was quite the journey. We knew that it was going to take quite a while, and it was going to be a few sessions before we got there. So it would have been a major commitment, where at the time we didn't really have any direct reason to go there other than to see it, sell a lot of stuff, and potentially buy a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is no other motivation beyond that at the time. But then we had the motivation with what I had through that dream, seeing, Russ is joining us. Hey, Russ.
Hello.
Hey, Russ.
Sorry, I was running a little behind. I had to go and get my pants.
Well, did you find them?
I did. Well,
are we on? We're on the air.
We're
yeah.
live. We're live.
Okay. All right. So here's the story, ladies and gentlemen.
So just let me say something, Russ. Losing your pants is usually a young man's game. Aren't you a little old for that now?
It is. I am way old. I do not understand how this happened. So, all right. So you guys know I performed this weekend at the Canterbury Village Medieval Stroll.
Yeah.
So nice. Kind of a mini Renaissance festival. And honestly, I performed as Oliver Ogre, and we had a great time. It was very well received. Everybody seemed to just absolutely love Oliver Ogre. And depending on how hot I was, my accent fluctuated. It was really hot this weekend, especially in that very heavy costume. I'm used to being in Ren Fair garb. I mean, that is not. I've been doing it for a long, long time. This is not something that I am like, unfamiliar with. But Oliver Ogre, his costume is definitely a little bit more extensive than some of the other things that I've worn. But we had a nice air-conditioned green room we could go into and cool off, so that was nice. But anyways, I'm getting changed back into my mundanes at the end of the day on Sunday, and I'm cleaning up my makeup and cleaning up everything, and I'm looking around, and I take my ogre pants off. I'm looking around to find my jeans. Where the hell are my jeans? And I'm looking around. I mean, they had my belt with one of my favorite S Shield belt buckle on it. So it's heavy. It's a heavy belt buckle. I'm like, there's no way. How could somebody pick that up? And I thought I was losing my mind. Where the hell are my pants? And so I'm like, we couldn't find them. So
that
I'll wait. I have all the time.
That's the first sign of aging right there.
Yeah, right. So I do, right? I was like, I am losing my shit. So I'm talking to the other people. I'm like, hey, have you guys seen my pants? I'm like, have you seen my pants? And everybody's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you lost your pants? So dog ownership. So anyway, I'm like,
I'm on mute just yelling at my dog. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to so then I was like, I put it in the Facebook group for all the workers and entertainers. Hey, if anybody happens to find my jeans, my pants with that have a Superman belt buckle on it, I'd really appreciate that.
You guys keep
being
talking.
returned.
I'm gonna go take care of this.
Sure. I'd really appreciate that being returned to me because they were a nice pair of jeans, you know. It's like, and I really like that belt buckle. So then a couple of people made some jokes and following to hear the epic tale of Russ's pants, and then I get a text from the guy. He messages to the guy that was running the Detroit Fight Club. And apparently, the first rule of the Detroit Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. And it's just cool. They're actually they get all done up in heavy armor and heavy weapons, and they fight. Cool. Yeah, and they kick the crap out of each other. It's nuts. So they so he's like, yeah, I have your pants, and I'm like, how did you get my pants? And he goes, we accidentally picked them up and grabbed them with the rest of our stuff, and I was like, okay. So I'm like, he goes, I'll get them to you tomorrow. Okay, well, that's cool, man. Thanks, and I. So I had to drive to Troy and get my fucking pants. It was nuts. And then I stopped and got a.
At least you're not going crazy. At least it wasn't like something that you misplaced them. And
I was concerned. I mean, it's a good goddamn thing I did in my wallet. I didn't leave my wallet in my jeans because
I was just
had them in my
pouch.
pouch.
I'm like,
no,
I'd
have been panicking. I'd have been panicking. So, but
all
yeah,
it was keys, all that stuff.
It was a really interesting weekend. I mean, we also had the tornado on Saturday night. So there were several tornadoes, 3 tornadoes touched down in Michigan, 3 tornadoes.
They're in the Armada area, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And the Canterbury Village is in Lake Orion. So it was like, it was real nearby because one touched down, I think, in like the Clawson area, or was real spotted in Clawson. So I was getting dinner with the Rogue Blades and my friend Lisa Marie, and we were sitting at a Five Guys over by Great Lakes Crossing Mall when the sirens went off, and the storm was. I mean, it was 8 o'clock, and it looked like it was midnight. I mean, it just was so dark, and it's just pouring, and we're like, maybe we should get away from the windows, guys. And so everybody kind of took shelter in the bathrooms and in the back of the building, and then we thought it started to look like it was lightening up, not lightning, but lightening up. And so I was like, well, I guess I should try and make it back to Hazel Park. That was a mistake. I mean, the roads going the southbound I-75 was insane. And then, I mean, there were parts where it was completely like we were going as far over to the shoulder as we could to get away from the water. The 8 mile and 9 mile exits are blocked off. So it dumps me on 7 mile. Right. So I'll just take John R up home. Between 7 and 8, John R was 90% flooded, the entire thing. I'm like driving in like 12 inches of water and sometimes more. At one point, the water came up over my hood. I was like, this is insane. People are still talking about it. It's like, that was some of the most amount of rain and that's fallen in such a short amount of time in quite a while. So.
Since like that great flood of like 2014, I think, right?
14 was the big flood that ruined a lot of Hazel Park, Ferndale, and Royal Oak. But anyway, so it was a crazy weekend. But the medieval stroll went off like without a hitch. It was a great time, guys. Next year they're probably going to do multiple weekends, maybe 2 or 3. it was a lot of fun, man. Guys, you should have come out. It's fun.
If it
Yeah,
wasn't so
Sonic.
fucking hot, I might.
It was insanely hot. I will say that. I mean, it was stupid humid on Saturday, and then it was even hotter on Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday I had other stuff going on, and then my car got hit actually in a parking lot.
Oh, shoot.
Saturday night. So
Oh
I
man,
didn't
that's
hear
a
that.
drag.
yeah, so
Is it bad?
Yeah.
it's all cosmetic. But it's the back driver's side. It's one panel and the rear light. They cracked the light and scraped a bunch of paint off the panel. And of course nobody said anything. It was in the B-Dubs parking lot, and the guy looked at it and said, "I only see one car pulling in there. It is a black car, that's what the transfer paint is. But I can't, give you any info. But if you let the police know, they can come look at it or whatever." So I called the police department, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they won't come out for that. You got to come to the station."
Oh gosh.
So
That's some screaming horseshit, is what that is.
So we drove over to the station, which just happened to be on the way to my buddy's house that we were going to after we got dinner anyway.
Mhm.
We had gaming on Saturday, and then we had our other D&D game, which actually wound up just being creating one guy's character. We had Forge actually had another meltdown on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Right in the middle of the day, it hit about 4:00,
Wow.
and
Didn't it come back up?
it came back up around 5. And what it is the guy that runs it decided to do an update in the middle of the fucking day on a Saturday. I'm like, he's like, "Well, it shouldn't have affected anything." I'm like, okay, first rule of IT is whether it's going to affect something or not, you don't do any sort of patching or anything like that during what is probably your busiest time.
Right, exactly. You do something like that at 4:00 in the morning on a
Or even
Tuesday or
7
something.
a.m. here, which would be or 3 a.m. here where it's like 8 a.m. there or something like that.
Isn't it based in Germany, right?
Yeah, he's in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But on a Saturday, 4:00 on a Saturday.
Yeah. And it took it down, and he's like, "Oh, I'll have it back up in a minute," because I was on the Discord channel, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's like, "Okay, this is a little more serious than I thought. It's going to take me a little bit."
Mm-hmm.
Like, motherfuck.
Yeah. Oh, I also on the way home stopped off at a food truck. Paulie Brady is doing like every Monday. He's trying to have like a little get together at this food truck not far from the house. So I wanted to grab a burger real quick, say hi. But so it sounds like or at least Chris and I had full weekends. How about Pete? Did you have a nice weekend, or did you get destroyed by the rain, or did you lose power? What's up?
No, this past weekend, I was up north the first part of this week. My whole family goes up north, and my parents have a place in the Lake Ogama area, and I went up in the first half of the week, and Rich and his family went up in the second half of the week. Mm-hmm. But on the weekend, though, my kids actually spent the night at my in-laws. So my wife and I got to actually have like a whole day to ourselves. We went to
a little romantic time together there.
You very white.
Let's get it on.
We went out to Partridge Creek. It was the first time that we actually kind of like went out more publicly in like a more crowded area, trying to.
It's hard for me to tell. Chris, you think he's blushing? I don't know. It's hard.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But we went out to Partridge Creek. Had a nice time, just kind of walking around for the first time in a long time. And
sans children. Sans children.
Oh, without children. Yeah, without children. Yeah.
See, that good on you, man. Because I think that's one of the things. I'm selfish, and I like my time to myself. And that's one of the things that I would never have if I had kids.
You are very limited on the amount of time that you have to yourself or together with your significant other if you have kids. So you're very limited with either the couple hours at nighttime or any time that you can get by having the kids being essentially being looked after by somebody else.
Yes. So God's love you, sir. God's love you.
Like my grandmother, she is like 92, 93 years old. every single week without fail, my kids go over there on a weekly basis for like 4 to 5 hours and spend some time with her. And we get a little bit of a date time with just each other, some like just
Right.
adult time, just be able to like not have to dedicate 100% of our time to
Right. So
just
you
them.
guys can, at least at some point, let's get it on.
All right.
Let's make love, baby.
So, Russ, you came in and interrupted us in the middle of the
I
conversation.
did. Well, I'm an interrupting
And
kind
we
of guy.
were talking D&D.
Yeah.
And
why? Oh, okay. That's what this
We end
show's
up-
for, right?
that's what this show's for. This isn't
what
Nerds
this
with
show's
Alcohol,
for.
where we just talk about random shit.
This is okay.
Yeah, I can get on random stuff like like later on. I think you even like mentioned in the podcast before. Like we ended up watching that movie, Shape of Water.
Oh, how did you like that?
Yeah. It was good. It was very different, and wasn't expecting it. Like we were just kind of going through trying to find something that we haven't seen before, and we landed on that, and it was quite surprising that it,
It's actually one of the few movies of its type in that genre, the sci-fi fantasy genre, that has won Best Picture.
I know, and I was
won
quite
Oscars
shocked on
and stuff. Yeah,
like how well done it was and how different it was at the same time. And I really enjoyed it. Yep.
Yeah, it's great. Chris, have you seen it?
No.
Oh man, it's really good. It's really, really good. Check it out.
So,
what were you talking D&D wise? What
we were talking about everything that's been happening and where we were at, and we were talking about Pete and his relationship with Madeline and getting there and seeing her for the first time after 3.5 years and all of that. And
what kind of brought us to Greyhawk? There was that's what, because we were always talking about going to Greyhawk, right? We were saying that, hey, it'd be great to go there, to sell all of our loot that we've been gathering for this amount of time. But that was quite a commitment to just sell some stuff, right?
What's interesting too is that we sold a lot of we did unburden ourselves with some of this loot, but we didn't really buy a ton of shit. Like I was thinking we're gonna be buying like magic items and get some other stuff. I mean, I did definitely level up my armor. That's for damn sure.
You did, yeah.
But I mean, we actually traded an item for that, so it wasn't like, and I still haven't really spent much money. I just kind of was like, I've got quite a bit of gold, so I was just kind of. I think maybe I'm just waiting to find something that I might need or whatnot, or maybe just keep saving up for when I need an upgrade.
Well, you're in a different position than I am because I am, as a wizard, I would spend all my money on paper and inks and whatnot. So
now remind me why, Chris, why do mages have to have supplies of paper and ink and stuff like that? It's just describe their spells, yes, but they only have to do that when they get new spells, right?
Yes.
When you learn a new spell from like a scroll or a spell book by other means other than just leveling up.
Right. Okay.
So, like for example, I actually have 2 spell scrolls that are in process that I think it'll take like 7 or 10 days before I get them. I have a haste spell coming and like a feather fall that I ordered.
That's right. You do, yeah.
Shop. So it's a first level and a 3rd level spell. They're coming from based off of scrolls. Right. So the first level spell is going to cost me 50 gold worth of paper and ink. That 3rd level spell is going to cost me 150 gold of paper and ink. So 200 altogether for just those 2 spells.
So as opposed to just paying money for these, you're actually buying the scrolls and ink so that you can scribe it into your spell book.
Well, I also had to pay for the scrolls too. Right, so I traded one scroll, like a level 1 for a level 1, and I upgraded a level 2 to a level 3 for the haste. Now I can probably get like a 4th level spell scroll if I wanted to, and just and do that, and then that would be 200 gold. Unless it's like my School of Magic that I can, it's going to cost in that paper ink. So I have like 500. I always like to have at least 1 to 200 like extra in my back pocket, just in case if I come across a scroll from adventuring.
I think that was one of the reasons why Liam O'Brien was always, it just seemed to me in Critical Role, particularly in the 2nd season, Liam O'Brien was always buying paper and ink.
and that's
erasing it.
how I am too, because I need at least 200 to do the 2 spells that I have. I have 500 overall, and I bought some extra, so it's leaving 300 left over. So that can be broken down by any other means if we come across a scroll, so that way I can learn it without having the need to go and go to the shop and actually get it, because like here it's obviously very very plentiful,
Right.
but in places like that we've been to before, like in Phandalin or Temple of the Open Mind, paper and ink is not as
plentiful.
available.
Sure. I mean, honestly, getting it at Greyhawk is probably a great idea, because, you know, who knows,
Well,
we may be able to get it again.
And the thing is, Temple of the Open Mind, you can get it.
Mhm.
That you can easily get it there. I mean, it's a library. They have paper, ink, supplies like that. Finding it in Phandalin is a little bit trickier. Now, you guys are established enough that when you get back, you could probably arrange to make sure that the general store owner can order some for you. I mean, it may take it a little while to get there, but he can definitely. I'm sure that he can arrange to get some there.
Yeah. But it's 50 gold per spell level. So
it's been it has been so long since I played an actual mage. I mean, the last time I played a arcane spellcaster was a sorcerer, so I didn't have to. You
don't have to worry about any of that.
I don't think I played a mage since 2nd edition. Wow, holy crap, Chris! I haven't played a mage since 2nd edition.
It is.
All right, so I'll have to kill Mirakarasov so you can play a mage.
No,
I have to say that I am just having such a blast playing that. I know it's a little bit more involved and complicated for like a newer character, but you know, it's funny because I can't imagine it any differently right now. Honestly, like melee attacks more confuse me than any of the spell attacks, because I just don't do it.
You know, I don't. It's one of those.
We just lost Russ.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good now.
Hang on. There we go. Okay.
Hi, Stella.
They said hi, Stella. Hi. Yeah. So, what was I saying? What were you saying?
Talking about
playing a mage.
spell casting, playing.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it was interesting for you to have played a mage in your first outing, because generally most people start with fighter classes because they do tend to be a little. There's less paperwork, you know. I mean, you're keeping track of less things, spells, and trying to like, okay, which spell should I have, and do I need these spells, you know, for the different situations. Spellcasters are generally something that somebody plays usually their second time around. Now that might have changed a bit now in 5th edition, because now that everything is a little more kind of even, you know, and just the fact that fighter classes have become more complicated, you know, but also streamlined at the same time.
Yeah. But I mean, also you've got tools like D&D Beyond, who doesn't sponsor us, but we use them. And it's that makes it easier, I think, for anyone coming in to be able to play something like a mage or a cleric or something like that, because it's easier to keep track of your spells.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. If it probably wasn't for that, it would probably seem a lot more overwhelming.
Yeah.
Just doing it strictly based off of source material by books only, versus having everything at your fingertips on the website.
Fighters have also become more complicated through the use of because of feats and the different.
Well, that was in 3.5 too, though. I mean, you could get you got power attack and cleave and all these different feats that you could get. That
they started making fighters a lot more complicated, or just a bit more complicated in third.
3.5 just made everything more complicated, I think.
Correct. Yeah, and same with Pathfinder. I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, definitely having a computer system, you know, a program that keeps track of everything, like you know, D&D Beyond is a godsend. I mean, I'd said that they should have been doing that years ago, you know, and I think they did try. I think D&D in 3rd edition did try to create like a tool set, and but you couldn't really do it on your phone or on a tablet. It was only on a computer, and it was it just wasn't as it was a bit unwieldy compared to what we have now with
Yeah, well, there weren't all the advances back then either. I mean,
Correct.
computers couldn't do everything.
Right. Exactly. So, how far we've come. But yeah, it's definitely, having that tool, being able to go, okay, these are all my spells here, all in a row, right here. I can just click and that I've cast it, or being able to hit the button and go and swing the sword and it rolls the dice for you, or you click a button and there's the damage. And I like it. As much as I love rolling my dice, I gotta admit I really like just being able to click a button and having the dice roll for me on the screen. I trust it.
Well, I've been in the other campaign, I was playing around with some of the macros and stuff that are on Foundry, and that people have made, and I was able to find one because the barbarian in our group was having trouble with figuring out how to do rage in the system, because it doesn't actually add everything in for him when it happens. So he has to remember to add this and this. Well, I found an actual rage macro, and you click on it and it adds the extra damage in for you, and it does all that thing. Cool. It even puts a little marker on you showing that you're rage. And it actually said, El Haka is raging, is what it says when you click the macro.
That's funny. No, that's cool. And it is true. There are some things that D&D Beyond doesn't quite get. Like when I channel Divinity and I get a +3 to hit, and I can do that, once a day, once per long rest. I have to add that extra +3 in on my own, which, I can do the math. But, it's something I have to remember. And sometimes you get used to having it all just kind of set up for you, and when that doesn't happen, you're like, oh man, shit, I forgot to add that +3, and +3, that's a lot,
that can be,
that's the difference between hitting and missing quite a bit. So
but it
ain't a perfect system, but it's a lot better than we had 20 years ago.
Yeah, it is. So back to the game though. So where we started last week, you guys had found this bar called The Pit.
The Pit.
And you had decided to go there. Klimbram really wanted to go there.
Yeah.
She really did, yes.
Yeah. And you wound up going in, and it's this kind of seedy looking tavern. And you see a bunch of people going through this door, and you kind of follow along with them, and you wind up at a desk with this tiefling named Bella, female tiefling, who basically you pay her, and you sign a book, and you head downstairs, and you're in the actual pit,
right?
Which is a fight ring. And
it honestly did not surprise me that Klimbram wanted to go down there.
Nope.
And of course, she wanted to fight as well. So she got into a fight and just knocked the guy out.
Oh gosh.
It wasn't even funny.
No.
Just took him out.
I don't think he even landed
no, I was rolling like shit.
Hit. Yeah, I was gonna say, shit. I mean, she rolled real well and you rolled like ass. Yeah. So doesn't help.
Yeah, so
made some money on it.
So she won that, and then another female tiefling came over and asked her if she wanted a regular position in the ring where they would actually pay her.
What kind of position?
Just a fighter.
A regular position.
Yeah, regular position.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
A regular fighting spot in the pit.
I'm terrible. I know. I understand. I'm just being an asshole.
No crazy position, just a regular one.
It's just a regular one. Okay. Fair enough. Fine.
So said she would think about it, but she wasn't interested right now because you guys had too much. So you left there, took Eucharia and Octavian took their winnings.
Yeah. Got 50 gold each on that.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you guys went back to the inn.
I wish I betted 500 gold now.
But you had a little faith in our monk, man. Come on. I didn't bet. I got no room to talk.
You went back to the barge inn where you guys have been staying, and Marikaris, you went back down. You stayed downstairs in the tavern itself for a little.
Well, during the fight, I watched the fight.
Yeah.
But then, after.
When we got back
afterwards-
to the inn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You guys
after-
left there and went back to the end. Everybody else went up to their
Correct.
rooms, and you went down to the tavern.
Yeah.
And you watched. You looked around and saw that it was mostly dwarves that were in there.
Right.
Oh, hey,
There was
Renee.
some. I did some carousing. I did some.
Yes.
Some.
You watched some fights break out. You actually
Right.
watched somebody get thumped over the head by the proprietor,
Correct.
innkeeper, and thrown out and told never to come back. You're banned. But yeah, it was an interesting time. And then you went up to bed. You guys got up the next day, went out to meet with Maudlin.
Which was an adventure in itself. Holy
Yep.
cats.
You talked with one of the missing children's parents. Got some info there. Found out the girl had been having some bad dreams. The parents didn't think anything of it. It was just a young girl having nightmares.
Mhm.
That
And
happened.
I think she went missing just about 3 or 4 days prior.
Yeah.
It's pretty
yeah.
recent.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The parents were obviously distraught. Madeline looked uneasy, and when you guys went back, you kind of pushed her on what was going on and what she knew, and it seemed to know more than she was letting on. And
Yeah.
she said that she was afraid that her sisters had found her. She was very reluctant to give you any info, but she did eventually say that she thought that maybe her sisters had found her. Gave you a little bit more info, and then the big thing that happened,
Big reveal.
yeah, the big reveal was that she dropped the disguise self that she has on herself at all times,
Yeah.
and she showed you what she really looks like, which is she is a dusk hag.
Do you want to see what she really is? She's a caveman.
My goodness.
Yeah, I could just picture like when Mark Harris saw that, he basically he was like, holy crap, I didn't draw it, but he was like, what the fuck, so the only thing that stopped him from drawing on this monstrous form was the fact that he knew that was your mother, essentially.
Yeah, and for me, the way that I played it, because this is something that Chris never mentioned to me or hinted towards me at all. There's obviously a lot of mystery regarding Maudlin and any of her background,
Mhm.
but the way that I tried to approach it was Yukari was in genuine shock, of course, but at the same time, appearances are just appearances. He knows that didn't matter. It was more like his history with her for the last 30 years about
Sure.
how she cared for him, that he just had to remember after a couple seconds of being kind of scared, shocked, and then but at the same time I tried to make sure that he looked past that and still remembered who she actually is deep down to him, and it's still someone that he looked up to, someone that he could rely on, his surrogate mother, his teacher, and he was able to move on even though she was very different and kept this from him. So I tried to play it like that because you really, like I said, Chris, there's no hinting of that at all previously or leading up to that. That was like a big reveal even on my part.
Wow, you had no idea, huh?
Nope, Chris never mentioned anything about anything regarding that. Just a little bit of mystery that I don't know much about. Her past, knew that she had a couple sisters, but nothing other than that. I just thought that she was an old human woman. So I kind of made it in that snap decision that this is how I think that he would react to it. Obviously, like, be in shock, but at the same time be emotional. Remember who she really is deep down. But still, the fact that you went even beyond that, Chris, and was saying that, all right, well, I even learned a lot more about myself. That my original thoughts of my past was I just happened to be found by Maudlin in the woods that out near where I actually grew up, but instead I was one of those children that was actually taken by her and her sisters
Right.
30 years ago, and she just happened to have like a connection to me, saw my potential, and she started actually questioning her sister's motives, and then she actually decided to take me and remove herself from that and try and live a life in peace away from that because of what her sisters were actually doing. So that was like a big like reveal for like my character's background that he had no idea. I don't like Euchariah is it hasn't even had real time to truly process that yet. But that was even pretty shocking, and I like the way that you're going with it though, because this will like kind of like finding like resolving this whole scenario that we're following up with would be kind of like a good closure to my background and like where I came from also, I feel.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like, I mean, the difference between myself as a player and you as a player, because I am more experienced, and you're like, you basically alluded to, oh, it doesn't matter what you look like, and in D&D it does sometimes. I mean, you're like, oh, but it's a nice manticore. No, it's not. Man. They don't.
Oh no, she's a dust hag.
Yeah,
but
it's a dust
I'm
hag,
also,
man.
But at the same time, I'm looking at it from Euchariah's eyes, who is
Sure.
He was a hermit. He grew up in a tiny little hut in the woods with only one other person in his life for like 90% of his life. And then after that particular goblin attack that forced him out in the real world, and where eventually a couple of years later met the entire group.
Right.
So his like knowledge of the outside world is very limited.
Oh, I get it.
So he was looking at it more from an emotional standpoint rather than the physical. So I was trying to.
This is still the person that took care of you when you were sick and
taught
you magic.
But yeah,
for sure, and it is just kind of cute. I mean, like you want to hope that you can't judge a book by its cover kind of situation, but in Dungeons & Dragons you sort of you kind of can. That's always been something that you struggle with, and that
I'm sure there's not many dust hags that are good.
Right. And I mean, and they're dealing with that in the lore and in the gaming community about how I was like, okay, is alignment and race really something that needs to be continued to be dealt with, that kind of thing.
And I mean, we've dealt with this before. I mean,
right.
You guys when you went to Stonechtooth, you wound up in the village of Blasingdell.
Yep.
Where,
true.
An orc actually got whipped to keep you hidden.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of the thing, Chris, and you and I have always discussed is like, you old school gamers, we deal with that in the game. I mean, I don't think I've ever played a game where every DM was just kind of like, oh no, orcs are always evil no matter what. Or, yes, you could pretty much rely on the fact that 98% of like red dragons are going to want to kill you and eat you.
Well, pretty much they are, but they're different.
Right, they're red dragon, but there's a lot of other monsters out there, like most of the trolls you're find are going to want to eat you, and most of the manticores or whatever else. If it was designed that if the monster class was evil, it probably was evil.
But that's the thing though too, is that you have to remember that evil doesn't mean bloodthirsty, gonna kill you right away type of thing. I mean,
of course not.
It just means that they're dicks.
Yeah, it means they're dicks.
That's really what it is in D&D.
It's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, neutral evil, you do whatever it takes to take care of yourself, even if that means killing other people. You don't have a problem with that.
Correct.
But it doesn't mean that you're always going to kill everyone you meet. They might be better as tools.
And
might be better as tools.
And alignments can eventually over time shift.
I mean,
like you can go from I would say that
You can shift alignments, yes.
Yes, absolutely, and that's something that that happens in video games for player characters, but you didn't see that happen as much for like NPCs or for monsters.
Yeah, but
over time
it's
you don't see
happening
a
in
monster.
Critical Role.
Sure.
Because actually Caleb and Not, I believe, both started off neutral evil.
Really?
Yes. They never really tell what the alignments are, but there's some stuff online that Renee has told me about that. Yeah, they were both, I believe, neutral evil when the game started.
I didn't know that.
Which kind of I can kind of see that. I thought they were.
Oh yeah, it totally
neutral.
makes sense.
I thought they were true neutral, but I can see them being neutral evil though.
I wouldn't have said true neutral. I would have said more like maybe neutral good, but
they weren't good.
But they really weren't. Yeah, not so much. They were pulling scams and on people.
That's why I was thinking true neutral more.
And particularly Not.
Yeah.
Not was probably the one that was the most, I think Caleb was just conflicted most of the time, but Not was definitely the one that is
Caleb has issues.
Oh, he's issues. For sure he's got issues.
But you kind of set it up very well, Chris, in terms of the story that Madeline was kind of disengaging from her sisters essentially with what they're typically doing with gathering children for their needs, and then eventually there's something about my character that kind of sparked something else in her that made her start changing and shifting. That's what I'm saying. Like I think that you can, like, over a course of time progression, especially someone that would all of a sudden become like a surrogate mother, could shift their beliefs and alignments. It was something like this to become like more of a good character.
It was your chubby little halfling cheeks
probably
as a child. It just made Maudlin it broke her heart. She couldn't eat you or use you as a slave servant. She was like, I'm going to raise him as my child. And that's what it was all about.
I like those reveals, Chris. I think that it made things a lot more interesting in terms of like my backstory, like just expanding so much upon it. It came as a shock to me. I was like, in between the breaks, I was rushing downstairs, updating my wife about like the latest like reveal that you were doing.
Honey, you won't believe this shit. You won't believe this shit.
I was showing her the picture of like, this is my mother, and she was like,
I can't do that with Stella
the whole time.
I can't do that with Stella. She just gives me the nerd look. Let's say like Chris will know what I'm talking about. This is what his ex-wife Kelly used to do to me. This is like, and you. Yeah. I was like, I'm giving you the nerd look. No, you're right. When I would run off at the mouth doing extra nerdy shit, she just kind of, I'm giving you the, like, yeah, all right, yeah, it's fine. I mean, and she was a nerd too. She just wasn't quite the same kind of nerd as the rest of us.
She indulges me enough. My wife's a nerd in her own right, but she indulges me and she listens to my stories at least.
Yeah.
Yep. So
that's a good wife right there.
So you finished up with Maudlin, and then you decided to start looking for the children and for these other Dusk Hags. So you started wandering through Old Town, thinking that that's where they might be hiding out. With, I believe it was Locate Creature, wasn't it? That you guys had you had Octavian cast Locate Creature.
Yes,
and try and get a ping on any location that might be of where this one of those creatures might be.
Yeah,
it was a real shot in the dark, but yeah.
But you spent several hours wandering around Old Town.
I got some buns.
I think it was only an hour because...
Yeah, that's right. It was only an hour because we only an hour of the spell.
I thought he cast it twice.
Oh, maybe then.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Even so, I got some buns.
Yeah.
A nice conversation with an older baker. I tell you, man, when we went in there and we kind of got close, I was almost certain that was going to be something. And I was like, you played it up well, because you were like, because I kept trying to, I don't know, I was trying to role play it where I'm trying to find some shit out. I don't think I either didn't make good enough rolls or it just was a red herring. But Well played, sir. Well
Well, we
played.
got a lot of good, you know, information on what we found in the lower districts of
Mhm.
Greyhawk.
That's
So
true.
we know a lot of where, because we did a lot of exploring in that southern area.
Mhm.
Did the entire loop essentially. So we didn't find anything that we were looking for, but we spotted quite a bit of interesting buildings that we may be interested in following up with one day. But I think that we're anticipating that they're probably in the north side of the forest north of Greyhawk. I think is where we're.
Well, that's your thought. That's your theory. You know,
That's where, yeah, we're.
I think that was the theory that you had kind of come up
Yeah.
with. Me personally, I was like, I'm, as uncomfortable as it can be. I think Merrick Harris is thinking that we should check the sewers because it sounds like something place that a bunch of hags would go. But I'm willing to check this theory as well. The outside of town kind of thing.
Which we can. Well, I'm sure that's probably going to be one of the first things that we're going to be discussing on when we start up again on Friday.
Well, the sewers
Yeah.
are also maybe a little bit too on the nose too, And honestly, we go down to the sewers of Greyhawk. You never know. You don't know what you're gonna find. I mean, there's all kinds of shit down there, man. That's where everybody throws all their garbage. I mean, like literally all kinds of shit down there. There's going to be halfling shit. There's going to be, they're like little pebbles. There's going to be tiefling shit. There's going to be dragonborn shit. There's going to be a lot of shit. So we have to prepare ourselves for a shit elemental, probably.
What?
Oh,
a Golgothan?
A Golgothan, exactly.
Is that from what's it called?
Dogma.
Dogma, yes.
But what you guys had decided was that where we left off was that you were actually, the next thing you were going to do was actually go to the temples.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
We didn't want to do that without Rich because.
Yeah, and then 30 seconds after we say, "All right, that's going to do it for tonight," Rich jumps on.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny too because his face was really close to the camera, and he was like,
"Hey,
did I make it?
Did I make it? Yeah." No, motherfucker, we're closing up shop.
But yeah, along those lines, though, we did talk about the fact that mentioned it on here too. I think that we are losing 2 people from the cast. Ian and Sydney have decided they need to step away from the game. So that's
like I was saying, man, every other Friday night for a young couple, it's kind of hard. That's a tough.
Yep, and I knew it would be. I really enjoy their characters, but I understand. So I've got some feelers out for some new people.
It'd be great. Yeah.
So got three. I've got 3 people that are considering it right now. So
okay.
Well, if they don't work out, I can send some feelers out too.
I'm really crossing my fingers on 2 of them. I think they'd be fantastic. The other one's not sure because of the drive. So because it's a long drive for him.
Okay. Well, when we finally get back to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody I know?
Yeah, you know.
All 3 of them.
We can talk about it off the air.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything on here. I don't want to say anything on here, but yeah, you know all 3 of them, Russ. Actually.
Oh, okay. Ow, shit. Cramp. Oh.
You all right?
Yeah, my leg just cramped up. I need to drink more water.
Eat a banana.
I don't have any bananas. I'm all right now.
No, but it's really unfortunate. So it sounds like they have formally decided that they're going to be stepping away.
Yeah.
Are they like stepping? Are they going to be able to return one more time to finish off like anything with their character? You think?
Well, considering that they told me 2 sessions ago that they weren't going to make it but I didn't hear anything from them this last one. I think they're done.
Okay.
That's a shame because we would have liked to at least closed up their
I
character.
would have liked something of any kind. I mean, we
So,
finally got Octavian is, or not Octavian.
I got a plan.
Phelan
So, yeah.
is Cloak of Billowing, and
Yeah.
I got a plan. So.
Well, yeah, you kind of mentioned a little something that for both their characters. But
Yep.
I'm sure
and I got
that
other
they're
plans
always...
too.
You got
okay.
plans within plans. That's your job. You're a dungeon master. Well, that's good. I mean, at least you're prepared. It does kind of suck though when a party member just decides to kind of up and split and not give the DM or the rest of the party at least some closure in their character. You know, it's just kind of a drag. Particularly considering that Lauka is tied kind of heavily into Marikaris. So.
That's right. Yeah.
And Klimbrum now.
Yeah, sure. They're kind of, they're kind of smooch buddies. They're bath buddies.
Yep.
But if we get some new ones, it'd be really interesting to see how they're introduced and then establishing a new dynamic.
So the one thing that is good about where we're at right now is that it's a great time to bring a new character in because
for sure. I mean, we're in Greyhawk.
You can retire a character and then bring someone in very easily, I think, right here.
Exactly. I mean, we're in Greyhawk. I mean, it is like the center of adventuring. You know, we're in New York City.
Yep.
We're in Manhattan, for fuck's sake. I mean, that's what Greyhawk really is, and so yeah, it's a perfect place to find more characters. You know,
I think it tells on. It's just
So anyone that joins up in our group, I'm guessing that you would immediately bump them up to starting at level 7, right?
Yeah, anyone that comes in is going to be level 7. They're going to be the same level.
So that's kind of exciting for like a new character to kind of start with a lot of extra abilities if you're creating something brand new, or even if you have kind of like an existing concept of a character and bringing them into this particular world that you're essentially replaying, but just starting like kind of halfway through.
Yeah. So there are about 160,000 people in Greyhawk.
Wow.
Dear Lord. That's a lot.
I mean, it's nowhere near the size of like Manhattan as far as the density of people, but for a medieval city, that's fucking huge.
Well, yeah, I mean, New York is 8 million people. I mean, holy shit, you know. No, of course not. So
yeah, and I think that we're going to be in Greyhawk for quite a while still. I think that between
got at least 2 weeks before your magic items are ready.
And it's only been like 2 days, right?
You're on your second day right now.
Right.
Yeah, we spent 3 sessions to get through 2 days.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. It's probably unless we do like we fuck around for a week, kind of.
And that's the thing. You can do that. So there are downtime activities you can do if you want to. If you just want to take like a week and just do something. Like,
sure.
Like there's crafting potions, scribing spells, actually
training, studying.
You start learning a language or a skill. Granted, those take longer than just a week, but I've got a whole system for how to do that.
Which I think you've mentioned before here on Tavern Talk. I think that I remember actually, like a certain amount of weeks kind of tied to our intelligence score, and then the amount of time and gold that would be in order to be proficient in something, right?
Yeah, so it's based on your current proficiency bonus. So you guys are at +3 right now. So it's 100 gold pieces per week. The base training time is to become proficient in a new skill or learn a new language. The base training time is 10 weeks minus the character's intelligence bonus.
the intelligence bonus is multiplied by the weeks, right?
No. The base training time is 10 weeks minus the character's intelligence bonus. So if you have a +3 intelligence bonus, then it's 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And that would actually go up if you had a negative intelligence. Like for Phelan, it would be 12 weeks would be his how much time it would take him to learn. And then basically what it is at the end of the training time, the character can make an ability check to determine if they successfully learned the new skill. The ability check is the int plus whatever ability is related to the new skill. For example, int plus dex for acrobatics. You have to make that type of check. If the new skill is int based, then it is a double int roll. So it's 2 different rolls that you have to make. You have to make an intelligence roll and a dex roll, or an intelligence roll and an intelligence roll, or an intelligence and wisdom, whatever it is.
Okay.
The character can increase their odds of passing the test if they would like to do so. To do this, they can extend their training time. Normal training costs still apply. For every 2 weeks added to a maximum of 10 extra weeks of training, the character receives a +1 to their test roll. So you can get up to a +5 to your test roll if you take an additional 10 weeks of training.
Wow. Okay.
How much is it per week?
For where you guys are, it's 100 gold per week.
And that'll give you what? One more point in your.
No, proficiency.
No, it would give you proficiency in a skill. So if or a tool or something like that, like say, like Pete, he's carrying around the thieves' tools and unlocking locks and stuff. Even though he's not proficient in them, and he's not a rogue. If he wanted to become proficient in them, he could actually take the time to do this, and it would cost him 100 gold per week. And if he passes, that would probably be a dex check. If he makes the check at the end and passes, he's then proficient in that tool set. He'll get the +3, and then at 9th he goes to +4, and 13 is +5.
Cool.
What about like expertise? How would
there is no way to get extra feats.
Oh, expertise.
Expertise. Expertise is something special, and it's not something you can actually. I don't have a rule. Expertise is something that's special to certain classes.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I meant expertise, not extra feet. But
I heard extra feats, and I'm like, you can't get extra feats.
No, like if I were to like somehow be able to try and be an expertise in investigation or an arcana, which is something that I already have proficiency in, but are probably my 2 skill checks that I use the most often. How could I potentially plan for getting something?
And there really isn't a way to do that. I mean, you're proficient in them, you're good at them, but there's no way to get expertise is based on class.
Okay.
The bonus for.
Yeah.
Which I think Bard gets a lot of it.
Bards do, but Bards are a support class, and they've really done a lot to make Bards worth playing.
A lot. I mean, back in the original and 2nd edition, Bards were a joke class, man.
Even in 3.5, they're not great. I mean, they got some arcane spells, but
I mean, they definitely improved. But I mean, nobody played Bards until 3rd edition. Playing a Bard was like, I can't do anything. And because they had, I mean, kind of like now, they had, they were jacks of all trades and the masters of none. But at least now they've made them more effective. They have made them, but back in 2nd edition, man, they were just useless.
Well, that's the thing. They give them jack of all trades, so they actually have at least partial proficiency in every skill.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they have expertise in like 2 or 3.
Yeah, they get expertise in like 2, and then I think they get expertise again at a higher level where they can pick another skill or 2 where they get expertise in it.
That's pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, it's double proficiency.
Yeah.
Right.
Which at 13th level means that you're +10.
Jesus. That's helpful.
I mean, even where you guys are, that would be +6.
Yeah. It's nice. But like I said, it still wasn't like back in the old days. They didn't get much in the way. Weapons proficiencies, if I remember correctly, they were kind of their weapons.
They were limited in armor.
limited in armor. They were limited in weapons. They were essentially like, daggers or sabers. There wasn't much in physically. They
short
couldn't do much.
swords, things
Short
like
swords. So like rogue weapons, but without the backstabbing and without the bonuses that rogues would get and stuff like that. So it was just really, really hard to play a bard back then. So, but now they made him a lot more, just a lot better.
Yeah. I'm still also looking around to just try and find to talk to some people, and I haven't had the chance because I've been so fucking busy. But I would still like to get a guest on, even if it's somebody that's not going to play all the time. Just have somebody on for a game or two.
That'd be a lot of fun.
You want a Shikasta?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Shikasta.
Or a keg.
Or keg. Mm-hmm.
I love keg.
I'll talk to I got a couple of friends. I got my buddy Mikey, who I'm doing this murder mystery thing with. He is a old school gamer, knows more about he's probably forgotten a lot about forgotten more about D&D than some people have learned. And, I think he'd.
Well, I mean, I was also thinking Kish and.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And while we're still playing online, Kish or Nicolin, those guys. So.
Well, even
that'd
if
be a lot of fun if we can get any.
Even if they couldn't come in when we're sitting around the table, they could still. So maybe we could still work it out where they are able to play mobily, like Critical Role would do when somebody was like out of town and they kind of play. They put like a monitor up so you could see their face or something.
The way that we've been doing it right now, we're still doing it remotely, and
yeah,
that would be really easy to just have someone join up. All you have to do is just create a character in D&D Beyond.
Which reminds me, I gotta clean up the whole painting thing downstairs. Now that I'm back in the office, I've actually got a desk up here now that I was actually setting up a bunch of the podcast equipment on to try and use my old mic and actually set that up through the computer and all that, and it just wasn't working right for me last time when I tried it last week. So I have to play around with that some more, but it's all sitting up here. But yeah, this was actually, I was thinking about making this another painting area because I've got my ring light here that I use for podcasts, and that would be a great light for doing painting and things. The problem is that it would mean that if I bring the paints and stuff up here, then they're not for easily accessible for Renee, and only one of us could paint at a time. And
such complication.
Yep.
So do you have do we have a ETA on when you want to try and get back in the basement?
Very soon. I think I've got all the equipment I need now. Okay. So my plan is I gotta get stuff cleaned off down there. Gotta get the table cleared off again. And then I need to move the table, so I'm gonna need some help getting things moved around.
I swore I turned that off.
I want to angle the table a little bit to give people more room on the sides.
Yep.
And then I'm going to be basically back in that back corner where the bookcases are, and then I can angle it so that you're only seeing like maybe the one side of the table and the couch instead of like the entire rest of the basement, and then you're still just seeing the wall on the other side. So we don't have to do like green screens or tarps hanging up. And just to make it look good. And then I'm gonna use the same mic that I'm using now, the Yeti. That's the plan.
I'd imagine you're gonna maybe want me to bring this back just in case.
Yeah, that'll probably be a good idea. But the other thing for it, what I plan on doing is I want to do a test run before we actually go live with it to test everything. And for that, I'm going to invite over whoever wants to come over and play. I'm hoping that we can get most of the group. This might even be a great time if we're going to introduce new characters and new people that everybody gets together and talks and people can meet. Like everybody I'm talking about, you and Rich don't know, Pete. So I'd like you guys to meet them, and I'd like them to meet you, and just kind of talk. I think everybody's going to get along just fine. But yeah, so get everyone together, and we'll play like Red Dragon Inn while recording it with all the different angles, the top down, the side, and the one M side, and we'll just play Red Dragon Inn and hang out and have a few drinks, talk, play a game, and maybe even stream it. So
that'd be great.
For sure.
Yeah.
That way we can test everything. We can test the stream quality and everything, and see how it goes.
I like that idea. I like it a lot. Chris, it is 9:45. We should probably, I'd say, wrap things up soon. I did want to say a couple of things. I don't think
Did you see
get
the brain fart? Did you see the smoke come out his ears there?
Yeah, he said, I want to say a couple of things, and then he had to think about what he wanted to say.
I want to say a couple of things, and then he froze, like.
So, first of all, Chris, I feel like, but we don't say this enough. Your efforts as a dungeon master are greatly appreciated.
Yes.
You've been doing great. I'm having a great time. I think everybody else is having a great time. I wouldn't be surprised if Ian and Sydney are going to miss the game and miss playing, because I think they also enjoyed it a great deal. Hopefully we'll get some more people in that are going to be just as good as appreciated.
Like, I hope they know that if they're ever available, I'm sure that there's a way that we can bring them back for a session or two.
Yeah,
I'll figure out a way.
Yeah,
Well, the other thing I want to do is
be written in.
The other thing I want to do is I want to talk to Ian and make sure that he's cool. I want to see if it's cool if we continue to use his music for our opening, because I really like Phelan's Jig.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
I like that as our opening music.
Yes,
for sure. That would be. I mean, his contributions like that have been really great. So we wouldn't want to lose that if we can't avoid it. But so yeah, it's be great to have them back every once in a while. But I just wanted to reiterate, Chris, you're doing a bang up job on the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing. Looking forward to seeing the what they do with the whole Fizzbands Guide to Dragons thing. That should be cool. Looking forward to that when that comes out. We're got a ways away before that comes out, though. So.
Well, what's funny is that the one guy that you guys met in the Arcane Affinity, the Elbrick. I actually modeled him after Fizzban.
I was gonna say, he reminded me a lot of Fizzban.
And I loved Fizzban's character, and I'm like, I want that absent-minded mage. And so that's what I did, was I created him there.
Yeah, Pete, for you to give you the background, Fizzban was the human form of the god Paladine in Dragonlance. He was like, and
spoilers.
Shut up.
The book's only 40 years old. I mean, it's
a 30-year-old book. Fizzban was essentially a golden dragon. No, I think Fizzban was gold.
No,
I know Paladine
is platinum.
Paladine is platinum, yeah, but when he took on the form of Fizzban was a gold dragon.
No, he had a gold dragon that he bossed around at the end.
But this is based off of the new book that's coming out.
You're right.
That was just
this is the new D&D book. And Chris, you're right. There was a senile gold dragon.
Yes.
And Fizzban was senile, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Fizzban,
when they first meet Fizzban, he's beating up a tree.
Right. So he's
smacking it with his cane.
He's this ancient, kind of senile, very powerful mage.
Where's my hat?
Yeah, it's sitting on his head. He could never remember where his hat was. And then they found out later in the adventure that he was actually Paladine, and that was his disguise on the prime material.
That's
so great. It was kind of a great thing too. People were like, "What? No." And so them having a book that basically is all about dragons and kind of redefining dragons.
Well, they're bringing the gem dragons back.
They are. Yeah. They were the neutral dragons? Is that what
Yes, they're
was?
the neutral dragons.
Right. Yeah, the chromatics were the evil dragons, the metallics were the good dragons, and the gem were the neutral.
I'm hoping they bring back some of the other ones too, like the Shadow Dragon. And
Yeah, or some of the rarer ones like the Chrome Dragon and the Steel Dragon and things like that.
I would love to see the Greyhawk dragon come back because there actually is a dragon that's unique to Greyhawk.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I do not remember.
It's actually one that lives in Greyhawk.
But it looks like that's not coming out until October, though.
Correct.
That
Yeah. I'm not interested in Strixhaven so much. I'm really not interested in any of the Magic the Gathering books.
What about the Feywild
The
book?
Feywild I do want to get.
Yeah. Strixhaven, from what I understand, is that they very much were kind of patterning it after. I mean, it's a school. It's wizard school, essentially. It's Hogwarts, yeah. So I am kind of interested in that, but because from what I understand, they put in some stuff that was very like I honestly, particularly for wizards and mage, mage classes, arcane classes, apparently they put in some interesting new stuff, or rule variants and stuff.
Which book is that?
The new
Strixhaven.
Yeah,
Strixhaven.
It's one of the other new books coming out.
Okay.
Now, isn't it also like more of an adventure book too, or is it a resource?
Strixhaven University.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think it's actually a campaign. It's a campaign setting.
Oh, is it a completely new setting?
Yeah, because to play that, you actually have to play in Strixhaven to really get. Yeah, I mean, you could place that university somewhere else, I guess, but I believe it actually is. That is actually going to be a campaign setting. It all takes place right there.
Okay. Well,
the Feywild is more of an adventure book. It's also a campaign expansion, I guess, is what it is, because it's actually expanding into what the Feywild is if you want to have adventures in the Feywild.
Right, exactly. I mean, all of these books, even the books that are adventure books, like Descent into Avernus and stuff like that, will generally still have new spells, maybe have some new character class, feats or different things like that. It's how they get you to buy the books. Yeah, they're like, well, this is gonna be an adventure book, but we're gonna have some extra stuff in there for character building, just in case.
It looks like it's not going to be out until like November, though. Mm-hmm. That particular one.
Yeah, Strixhaven comes out in November. Feywild.
I think that one's newer or sooner.
Yeah,
I think that one might be right around the corner. I'm not sure.
I think so too, because that's the one I'm most looking forward to. Partially because part of it is that it's going to deal with like hags and stuff like that, which right where you guys are.
Yeah.
Covers new characters, monsters, mechanics, and story hooks suitable for players of all ages and experience levels. Comes out though, not in this article, but I think that one is sooner.
Well, either way, I'm looking forward to these books coming out.
September. Feywild comes out in September.
Okay, cool. Right around the corner then.
The Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
The Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
It's nice that there's so many new books that are coming out regularly.
That's one of the things that Wizards wants to do right now, because D&D is so fucking popular at the moment.
Yeah.
They are trying to put out at least 4 books a year. This year they're actually putting out more. They said they were going to put out 4 books, but they've announced 5.
Wow.
I think it is, because they've already had 2.
Mm-hmm.
They've had Candlekeep Mysteries and where's
Candlekeep? I forgot about Candlekeep.
What's that?
No, I forgot about Candlekeep.
Yeah, right. And then we had Ravenloft, and then we've got 3 more this year: Strixhaven, the Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and then the Dragon book. So there's going to be 5 this year. But the other thing is they had announced that they were going to also put out 4 different campaign books.
Right.
2 of which were going to be redos of older campaigns from what the rumors were. Which is why everyone was hoping it was going to be like Dragonlance and Greyhawk or Dark Sun or...
Why couldn't it have been Dragonlance?
I think Dragonlance is going to be next year. after the novel.
After the books, yeah, after the books come out, that's probably what's going to happen. So guys, be sure to check out. There's a whole separate. I'm going to make a right-hand turn or left-hand turn, but Masters of the Universe Revelation is Amazeballs.
I watched the first episode tonight.
I loved it. I'm loving it. It's really great. What did you think? Initial thought.
I thought it was all right. I want to see. I'm waiting to see the next one. I mean,
you were never a He-Man guy. I was a He-Man guy.
I was a He-Man. I used to watch He-Man.
All right, I couldn't remember because He-Man was a little. You were a little.
I wasn't huge on He-Man, but it was my brother was into it, the cartoon more than
right. I was a big He-Man fan, and I fucking loved it. I thought it was really, really awesome, and I binged it on Saturday night, and I should have gone to bed, and it was really great. So check that thing out, guys. Yeah, I don't know, Chris. Shall we wrap things up?
Yeah, we can probably wrap things up. Tomorrow night, Nerds with Alcohol show, 8:00 right here on Twitch.
Yep.
What are you guys going to talk about?
Probably a little bit about He-Man.
We'll probably talk a little bit about He-Man. The Blizzard lawsuits. See that article I sent you, Russ?
Not yet. No.
Okay. Yeah. There's some stuff going on there that we really need to talk about. And there was something else that I just thought of tonight that.
Wait a minute. Where did you send it to me?
I texted it to you. I sent it to you as a text the other day. But I said, dude, we have to talk about this. But we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, and thinking about it, there was another show that I figured we were going to talk about He-Man. I can talk a little bit about Shadow and Bone. I'm almost done with it. I got one more episode to go.
Yeah, we're behind on that, but we'll figure something out.
We got lots of stuff to talk about. We still got a few weeks before What If comes out.
Yeah,
we'll be talking about those every week.
I painted my fingernails for Oliver, and it actually held up pretty well. It's like this chrome color, and it's weird. I keep catching it out of the corner of my, because I'm Italian. I talk with my hands, and I keep catching. I'll see it, and it'll go, and I'll be like, "What the? Oh, that's my."
That's me.
You're not used to catching that. Seeing that on your hand.
So one of the other things I was going to bring up is I have not put up the last episode of Tavern Knights yet because I went to do it on Sunday and realized that Streamlabs fucked up again and it stopped recording at 1 hour and 41 minutes.
Oh no!
So
we lost half the show.
So we lost over half the show. We lost 2.5 hours.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do is tonight, once we get done here, I'm actually going to set up Streamlabs again. I am going to get Twitch going, and I am going to play the episode and record it. And hopefully I will have it up later on this week on YouTube.
So you still have it?
It's still on
elsewhere?
Twitch.
Okay, so you're going to play it and record it from Twitch onto Streamlabs so that way you can... Oh, gosh.
Yep. The fun of the video editor.
Awesome.
So, all right, but yeah, guys, we'll be back here. The three of us will be back here on Friday night, 7:30, playing D&D on Tavern Knights.
Join us tomorrow night.
Yeah, I moved it back to 7:30 because I'm back in the office now, so I need more time to get home. So it gives me an extra half an hour to get set up.
Yeah. Join us tomorrow night and every Tuesday night right here on Twitch for our Nerds with Alcohol show here on Drinking Nerds. Just Chris and I, and looking forward to it. Good fun.
So, all right. Well, I think that's gonna about do it for tonight.
I think that should do it.
All right. So everybody have a good night. Take care of each other out there. It's still crazy out in the world. So we will talk to you later on.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good week.
Friday.